Welcome to Emma's English.
Hey English learners, welcome back to Emma's English Talk, your cozy little place to learn real, everyday English through natural conversations. I'm Emma.
And I'm Tom.
Today we are talking about something that I think almost everyone can relate to, even if they do not want to admit it.
Oh, really? Is it a secret habit or some kind of daily struggle we all hide?
Exactly. It is a daily struggle that sits quietly in the corner of almost every bedroom in the world.
Okay, now you have got me curious. What is this mysterious bedroom struggle?
I am talking about the chair.
The chair. You mean just a regular chair that you sit on?
No, not a chair you sit on. The chair where you throw clothes that are not dirty enough to go into the washing machine, but not clean enough to go back into the closet.
Oh, that chair. The famous clothes chair. Yes, I know exactly what you are talking about.
I knew you would. I think everybody has one, whether it is an actual chair, a bench, a valet stand, or even just a specific corner of the bed.
Absolutely. In my room, it's actually a wooden armchair that I bought specifically thinking I would sit in it and read books.
And let me guess, you have never actually sat in it to read a single book.
Not even once. It became a wardrobe extension within 48 hours of me moving it into the bedroom.
That is hilarious, Tom. It's amazing how we all do this without even planning to. It just happens naturally.
It really does. You wear a pair of jeans for a few hours, you come home, you change into sweatpants, and then you face the decision.
Yes, the big decision. Do you fold them and put them away, or do you toss them onto the chair?
Obviously, the chair wins every single time because putting them back in the closet feels like too much work.
It really does. And plus, there's this weird mental barrier. It feels wrong to put worn jeans next to freshly washed shirts.
I agree. It feels like you are contaminating the clean clothes with the outside world.
Exactly. So the chair becomes this neutral zone.
It's like a temporary storage space that is neither clean nor dirty.
Yes, a perfect description. It's a very specific kind of domestic mystery.
I'm so glad we're talking about this today because I honestly thought I was the only one who did this.
No way, Tom. It's a global phenomenon. And today we are going to dive deep into why we do it and how we can manage it.
So, Emma, let me ask you, what does your clothes chair look like right now?
Oh, it is a complete disaster. It is actually a beautiful white wicker chair, but you cannot see any of the wood because it is covered in 3 cardigans, a pair of leggings, and 2 hoodies.
That sounds like a lot of layers. How long have those clothes been sitting there?
Honestly, I think the bottom cardigan has been there for at least a week. I keep meaning to do something about it, but it is a real conundrum.
Conundrum? You mean a really puzzling or difficult problem, right?
Exactly. It is a tricky puzzle where there is no easy answer. It is a conundrum because if I put them in the wash, I feel like I am wasting water since they are not actually dirty. But if I put them away, I feel like my closet is getting messy.
That makes sense. It really is a daily conundrum that we have to solve every single evening.
It is. What about you, Tom? What is currently residing on your wooden armchair?
Well, right now I have 2 pairs of jeans, a flannel shirt, a light jacket, and a couple of t-shirts that I only wore for an hour to go to the grocery store.
See, that is the classic example. Wearing something for just 1 hour puts it in total limbo.
Limbo? Like that intermediate state where things are stuck and undecided?
Yes, precisely. Those clothes are in limbo because their status is completely unresolved. They are not dirty, but they are not pristine either.
Limbo is the perfect word for it. They're just floating in this middle ground, waiting for someone to make a final decision.
And usually that final decision is just to leave them there until the pile gets out of hand.
Out of hand? So you mean it's becoming completely out of control?
Yes, when things get out of hand, they become unmanageable. Like when the pile of clothes on the chair gets so high that it actually starts spilling onto the floor.
I have definitely been there. Sometimes my pile gets so top-heavy that the slightest breeze from the window makes the whole thing collapse.
That is when you know you have let things go too far. It starts to look like a mountain of fabric in the corner of your room.
It really does. And the worst part is when you're looking for a specific shirt and you realize it's buried at the very bottom of the pile.
Yes, and by the time you pull it out, it is so wrinkled that you can't even wear it anyway.
Exactly. So then you have to wash it just to get the wrinkles out, which completely defeats the purpose of saving it from the wash in the first place.
It's a vicious cycle, Tom. We try to save energy and protect our clothes, but we end up creating so much clutter.
Clutter? You mean filling our space with a messy pile of scattered things?
Yes, clutter is when a space becomes messy and crowded with objects that don't really belong there.
My bedroom definitely suffers from that kind of clutter because of the chair. It makes the whole room look disorganized.
It really changes the vibe of the room. A bedroom should be a peaceful sanctuary, but a massive pile of semi-clean clothes makes it feel chaotic.
I completely agree. But why do you think we struggle so much with this specific category of clothing?
I think it's because clothing manufacturers and home designers have never created a proper place for semi-clean items.
That is a very good point. We have a hamper for dirty laundry, and we have closets and drawers for clean laundry.
Yes, but there's no built-in system for the in-between clothes. There's no semi-clean drawer.
Imagine if wardrobes had a special ventilated drawer labeled semi-clean. That would be amazing.
It really would, but until then, we are left to our own devices, which usually means using the chair.
Or the floor. I have to admit, when the chair is full, the floor next to the chair becomes the backup storage zone.
Oh, the floor is dangerous. Once clothes hit the floor, they are basically dirty in my mind.
Really? Even if you just put them down gently?
Yes, because dust settles on the floor, and if you have pets, pet hair gets all over them. The floor is the point of no return.
That is a fair point. I try to avoid the floor, but sometimes the chair just can't hold any more weight.
It's like a game of Jenga, but with sweaters and jeans. You try to place one more item on top without the whole tower falling over.
That is a very accurate comparison. I'm always carefully balancing my jackets on the armrests.
It's funny how we put so much effort into balancing the clothes instead of just spending 2 minutes hanging them up.
It's pure laziness, Emma. There is no other explanation for it.
Perhaps, but I think it's also a lack of a good routine. We're tired at the end of the day.
That is true. When you get home from a long day of work, the last thing you want to do is organize your wardrobe.
Exactly. You just want to get comfortable as quickly as possible.
So you shed your work clothes like a snake shedding its skin and leave them where they fall.
What a vivid image, Tom. But yes, that is exactly what it feels like.
It's a transition from our public lives to our private lives, and the clothes chair is the monument to that transition.
Wow, that sounds very philosophical. The clothes chair as a monument to human transition.
I like to find deep meaning in my lazy habits. It makes me feel better about them.
Well, it certainly sounds better than just admitting we have a pile of messy clothes in our rooms.
Exactly. It's not a mess, it's an artistic representation of my day.
That is what I will say next time my mom visits and asks why my room is untidy.
It works every time, trust me.
I doubt that, but it's worth a try.
So, Emma, do you think there are any actual solutions to this problem, or are we destined to live with the chair forever?
I think there are solutions, but they require us to change our habits, which is always difficult.
Yes, breaking habits is incredibly hard, especially when we let things slide for so long.
Let slide? When you say let slide, you mean neglecting things or letting them get worse, right?
Yes, exactly. To let something slide means to ignore a situation and allow it to deteriorate over time without taking action.
I definitely let my bedroom organization slide during busy weeks. I just ignore the pile until the weekend.
We all do. We turn a blind eye to the growing mountain of clothes because we do not have the energy to deal with it.
Turn a blind eye? That means we deliberately pretend not to see something, even though we know it is there, right?
Yes, you have got it. Turning a blind eye is a very common defense mechanism when we are feeling overwhelmed by household chores. I am a master of turning a blind eye to my clothes chair. I can look directly at it and somehow convince myself that the room is perfectly clean.
It is amazing how our minds can do that. We just block out the clutter.
But eventually we have to face reality. For me, that is usually on Sunday morning when I do my weekly cleaning.
Sunday is the day of reckoning for clothes chairs everywhere.
It really is. That is when I finally sort through the pile and decide what actually needs to be washed and what can finally go back into the closet.
Do you find that some of the clothes on the chair could have actually been put away days ago?
Oh, absolutely. Often I'll find a sweater that I only wore for 20 minutes and it's perfectly clean. It just sat on the chair for 6 days for no reason.
That is the tragedy of the clothes chair. Clean clothes get wrinkled and dusty just by sitting there, so they end up in the laundry anyway.
It's such a waste of time and energy.
It really is. One solution I read about is installing hooks on the back of your bedroom door, specifically for semi-clean clothes.
Oh, that's a really interesting idea. Hanging them on hooks keeps them off the chair and allows them to air out.
Yes, and it keeps them organized and separated from your pristine clothes in the closet.
Plus, they're visible, so you don't forget about them and let them sit there for weeks.
Exactly. If you can see them hanging neatly, you are much more likely to wear them again the next day.
I might actually try that. I have some empty space on the back of my door that would be perfect for a row of hooks.
Another tip is to limit yourself to a single clothes hanger in your closet that is dedicated to once-worn items.
Ah, so you still put them in the closet, but they're kept on a specific hanger so they don't touch the other clothes directly.
Yes, or you could use a specific section of your closet, like the very far left side.
That sounds like a good compromise. It keeps the room looking neat while still respecting the clean versus semi-clean barrier.
It does, but it requires the discipline to actually hang the item up instead of just tossing it.
And that's the real challenge, isn't it? The tossing action is just so effortless.
It is. It takes less than a second to throw a jacket onto a chair, whereas hanging it up takes at least 10 seconds.
10 seconds can feel like an eternity when you're exhausted.
I know, but we have to remind ourselves that those 10 seconds save us so much time and stress later in the week.
That is true. It's an investment in our future peace of mind.
Exactly. Think of how nice it feels to walk into a bedroom that is completely free of visual clutter.
It feels like a hotel room. It's so relaxing.
Yes, and hotel rooms do not have closed chairs. That's why they feel so peaceful.
Well, unless you count the luggage rack, which I also tend to pile clothes on when I travel.
You are hopeless, Tom. You'll turn any piece of furniture into a clothes rack.
It's a talent. What can I say? I see horizontal surfaces and I see potential storage.
I think many of our listeners are probably nodding their heads in agreement right now.
I hope so. It makes me feel much better to know I'm not alone in this struggle.
You are definitely not alone. It's one of those universal human experiences that transcends cultures and borders.
It really does. No matter where you are in the world, the clothes chair is there.
It is a silent witness to our daily lives.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Emma.
Before we finish, thinking about our struggles with the clothes chair reminded me of some great natural phrases we used today that can help our listeners express themselves more clearly in English.
That is a wonderful idea. We use some really nuanced vocabulary today that is perfect for upper, intermediate, and advanced learners.
Yes, and using these expressions will make your English sound much more natural and sophisticated.
Let us start with the first one we discussed, which was the word conundrum.
Right, we mentioned that deciding what to do with semi-clean clothes is a real conundrum.
It is such a great word. It sounds much more advanced than just saying a difficult problem.
It really does. You can use conundrum in professional settings too, like when you're facing a complicated situation at work where there are no easy solutions.
For example, you could say, we are facing a financial conundrum with the new project budget.
Exactly. It shows that the problem is complex and requires deep thought.
And then we talked about the word limbo, which we used to describe the state of the clothes on the chair.
Yes, those clothes are in limbo because they're neither clean nor dirty.
You can use limbo in your everyday life when you are waiting for a decision, like a job offer or a visa approval.
Yes, you could say, I am in limbo while I wait to hear back from the hiring manager.
It perfectly describes that stressful feeling of being stuck between two situations.
The next phrase we used was out of hand, when the pile of clothes gets too big.
Right, when things get out of hand, they get out of control.
This is a very common idiom. You can use it for situations, behavior, or even emotions.
For instance, you could say, the party got a bit out of hand, or my expenses are getting out of hand this month.
It is a very versatile phrase that native speakers use all the time.
We also talked about clutter, which is both a noun and a verb.
Yes, we talked about how clothes can clutter your bedroom, making it look messy.
You can use it to talk about physical objects, but also mental states, like having a cluttered mind.
That is a great point, Tom. Clearing the clutter from your desk can help clear the clutter from your brain.
I love that. It is so true.
And then we had the idiom let slide, which we used when we talk about neglecting our chores.
Yes, when you let things slide, you allow them to get worse because you are not paying attention to them.
You can let your studies slide, let your fitness routine slide, or let your house cleaning slide.
It is a very natural way to say that you have been neglecting your responsibilities.
Finally, we use the phrase turn a blind eye, which is when we pretend not to see the mess.
This is a classic English idiom. It means to deliberately ignore something that you know is wrong or needs attention.
For example, you could say, the teacher turned a blind eye to the students whispering during the quiz.
It implies that you made a conscious decision to ignore it rather than just failing to notice it.
These are all such useful expressions for everyday conversations, and they really elevate your vocabulary.
Absolutely. Practicing these will help you express subtle feelings and situations much more effectively.
Speaking of remembering new words and practicing them, did you know we have a full PDF script available for this entire episode?
Oh yes, the PDF script is incredibly useful because you can read along while you listen, which is fantastic for improving your pronunciation and shadowing.
It really helps to connect the spoken sounds with the written words, especially for those trickier advanced terms we used today.
You can download the script for free using the link in the description box below or check the pinned comment.
And if you are enjoying this episode and want to support our channel, please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell.
Yes, your support helps us keep creating these free lessons for English learners all over the world.
We love being part of your English learning journey, and we appreciate every single one of you.
We really do. Thank you so much for studying with us today.
All right, and speaking of reviewing, before we say goodbye today, let us do a quick recap of the 6 key vocabulary expressions we covered.
Yes, a quick word tour is the perfect way to lock these terms into your memory before the end of the lesson.
I will say the word, and Tom, you can give us a quick explanation of what it means.
I am ready. Let us do it.
First up is conundrum.
A conundrum is a confusing or difficult problem that does not have an easy solution.
Excellent. Next is limbo.
Limbo is an intermediate transitional state where things are unresolved and stuck in the middle.
Perfect. How about out of hand?
Out of hand means out of control or unmanageable.
Great. What about clutter?
Clutter means a messy, scattered pile of things that fills a space and makes it look untidy.
Wonderful. And let slide.
To let slide means to neglect something, allowing it to get worse over time.
And finally, turn a blind eye.
To turn a blind eye means to deliberately ignore something that you know is there or needs your attention.
That was an amazing recap, Tom. You nailed all of them.
Thanks, Emma. These are such practical words, and I hope our listeners start using them in their daily lives.
Me too. It is all about taking these words out of the classroom and using them in real-world contexts.
Exactly. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's conversation about the legendary clothes chair.
It was a lot of fun to talk about this. I feel much better knowing that even an English teacher has a messy clothes chair in her room.
Oh, absolutely. Nobody is perfect, Tom. We all have our little domestic struggles.
We certainly do.
What about you guys? Do you have a clothes chair in your bedroom, or do you have a better system for handling semi-clean clothes?
Yes, we really want to read your answers, so please let us know in the comments below.
We promise not to judge your messy rooms.
Speak for yourself, Emma.
No, I'm just kidding. We love reading about your daily habits.
Thank you so much for listening to Emma's English Talk today. Keep practicing, keep learning, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Happy learning.